And now, folks, it's time for Who Do You Trust? Hubba, 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 money, money, money. Who do you trust? Me? I'm giving away free money.
County has kicked off its guaranteed basic income program. 1,000 people received a $1,000 payment from the county this month. It's all part of a pilot program approved by county supervisors last year, which aims to address poverty and income instability. The participants were chosen randomly from more than 180,000 people who applied for the program.
Using the authority Congress granted the Department of Education, we will forgive $10,000 in outstanding federal student loans. In addition, students who come from low-income families, which allowed them to qualify to receive a Pell Grant, will have their debt reduced $20,000. Both of these targeted actions are for families who need it the most. Working and middle-class people hit especially hard during the pandemic, making under $125,000 a year.
Winged battle flies through the night and finds me ready. Bob Mask.
Mask! Put him on now! Fine! And now comes the part where I relieve you, the little people, of the burden of your failed and useless lives. But as my plastic surgeon always said, if you gotta go, go with a smile.
You walk into this room at your own risk, because it leads to the future. Not a future that will be, but one that might be. This is not a new world. It is simply an extension of what began in the old one. It has patterned itself after every dictator who has ever planted the ripping imprint of a boot on the pages of history since the beginning of time. It has refinements, technological advances, and a more sophisticated approach to the destruction of human freedom. But like every one of the superstates that preceded it, it has one iron rule. Logic is an enemy and truth is a menace. Any state, any entity, any ideology that fails to recognize the worth, the dignity, the rights of man, that state is obsolete. A case to be filed under M for Mankind in the Twilight Zone.
Okay, so here we are at Walmart, and their new scan stations, you can see them, they have cameras on both sides here, and instead of having the scanner at the bottom, you use a scan gun for everything. So it's a rechargeable scan gun, and then you scan everything and put it in the bag like normal, but there is no barcode scanner at the bottom. But you can see there's a lot of cameras on these new ones. You got cameras at the top, cameras over here, cameras over here, cameras over here, and then they got the scan gun here, so you'll scan, place them in the bag, and you'll be ready to go.
Unless we act now.
She is going to become part of this family, you know.
I don't know. Maybe Dad deserves a little happiness. Pat? Pat! You're
no more or less than I have been. I've just finally reached my full...
I gotta get Sarah.
She wouldn't know a hologram from a virtual projection. That's why we must keep her from being too serious about serious. Have you lost your mind? There's only one person who knows what you three need. That's Sarah. I have worked my microchips right down past the silicone for you people. And this is how you repay me? Me?
Pat, take it easy.
Easy. You think I wouldn't rather be taking it easy?
But no!
I'm too busy keeping up with the Coopers. Slaving away in a hot parties, doing control room, throwing homework, making your lives schedules perfect. So you can bring a mother like no other into my domain.
What is it about robots that makes them so robotic?
There will be fewer and fewer jobs that a robot cannot do better.
Okay.
What to do about mass unemployment? This is going to be a massive social challenge. And I think ultimately we will have to have some kind of universal basic income. I don't think we're going to have a choice.
Universal basic income.
Universal basic income. I think it's going to be necessary.
So it means that unemployed people will be paid across the globe.
Yeah.
Because there is no job, machine, robot is taking over.
That's simply and I want to be clear that these are not things that I think that I wish would happen. These are simply things that I think probably will happen. And if my assessment is correct and they probably will happen, then we need to say, what are we going to do about it? And I think some kind of a universal basic income is going to be necessary. The harder challenge, much harder challenge, is how do people then have meaning? Like a lot of people, they derive their meaning from their employment. So if you don't have, if you're not needed, if there's not a need for your labor, how do you, what's the meaning? Do you have meaning? Do you feel useless? That's a much harder problem to deal with.
At Wayland Industries, it has long been our goal to create artificial intelligence almost indistinguishable from mankind itself. Hello, I'm David.
What can you do, David?
I can do almost anything that could possibly be asked of me. I can assist your employees. I can make your organization more efficient. I can carry out directives that my human counterparts might find distressing or unethical.
Now, today, we have a level of wealth inequality that hurts everyone. When you don't have the freedom to take your idea and turn it into a historic enterprise, we all lose. And right now, today, our society is way over-indexed on rewarding people when they're successful, and we don't do nearly enough to make sure that everyone can take lots of different shots.
Cost of living pressures are forcing some Melburnians to downsize to spaces smaller than a room. The high-tech sleeping pods are the latest answer to a rental squeeze as more July the 1st relief looms.
As Victoria's housing affordability crisis deepens, unique setups like these space shuttle pods are offering short-term solutions for renters desperately needing somewhere to sleep.
I have a lot of in-betweeners. They stay here while they look for another place.
The landlord says more than 80% of his pods in Abbotsford are booked out.
As of today, the weekly rate is $250.
Now let's face it, there is something wrong with our system when I can leave here and make billions of dollars in 10 years, while millions of students can't even afford to pay off their loans, let alone start a business. Look, I know a lot of entrepreneurs, and I don't know a single person who gave up on starting a business because they were worried they might not make enough money. But I know too many people who haven't had the chance to pursue their dreams because they didn't have a cushion to fall back on if they failed. We all know you don't get successful just by having a good idea or working hard. You get successful by being lucky too. If I had to support my family growing up instead of having the time to learn how to code, if I didn't know that I was going to be fine if Facebook didn't work out, then I wouldn't be standing up here today.
Trying to scrape up a down payment for a little fixer-upper in your neighborhood? Take a look at my next guest. There's a report around Wall Street that this is what he has in mind. This is Donald Trump, 33 years old, and some people think that he wants to buy the World Trade Center, the 110-story Manhattan skyscraper that anyone can pick up if they've got the coins.
Napoleon, Alexander the Great, Donald Trump, we're all cut from the same cloth.
That part of what makes our country great is that our membership is based not on our bloodline, not on what we look like, what our last names are. It's not based on where our parents or grandparents came from or how recently they arrived. but on adherence to a common creed.
And if we're honest, we all know how much luck we've had to get to this point in our lives. Every generation expands its definition of equality. Previous generations fought for the vote and civil rights. They had the New Deal and Great Society. And now it's time for our generation to define a new social contract. We should have a society that measures progress not just by economic metrics like GDP, but by how many of us have a role we find meaningful. We should explore ideas like universal basic income to make sure that everyone has a cushion to try new ideas. We're all going to change jobs and roles many times, so we need affordable childcare to get to work and healthcare that's not tied to just one employer. And we're all going to make mistakes. So we need a society that's less focused on locking us up and stigmatizing us when we do. And as our technology keeps on evolving, we need a society that is more focused on providing continuous education through our lives.
Matrix is a system, Neo. That system is our enemy. But when you're inside, you look around, what do you see? Businessmen, teachers, lawyers, carpenters, the very minds of the people we are trying to save. But until we do, these people are still a part of that system, and that makes them our enemy.
When you hear me say, hey, everyone gets $1,000 a month, you're like, wow, that sounds too good to be true. It is not too good to be true. My flagship proposal is a freedom dividend of $1,000 a month for every American adult starting at age 18. So that means that you would receive $1,000 a month every month. And this is a renaming of something called universal basic income, a policy that's been with the country since our founding. Thomas Paine was for it. He called it the citizen's dividend. Martin Luther King fought for it in 1967 in his book Chaos Our Community. And it is what he was fighting for every day up to the day he was assassinated in 1968. Milton Friedman and 1,000 economists signed a study saying this would be tremendous for America. And it even passed the US House of Representatives twice in 1971. It came this close to being law. So this is not as radical as you might think. 44% of American jobs will be subject to automation in the next 20 to 30 years, 20 to 30% in the next 10 to 20 years. I mean, think about what that means. The most common jobs in the US economy are administrative and clerical, which includes call center workers, retail and sales, food service and food prep, truck driving and transportation, and manufacturing. those 5 sectors are all going to shrink, and that's half of American jobs. And then you're looking at other white-collar jobs like insurance agents and financial advisors and accountants and bookkeepers, radiologists. Like, a lot of professions are going to get affected by this. So the way we fund this universal basic income is that we look up and see who's winning in an era of incredible innovations. Amazon, Google, Facebook, Uber. And then you look closer and you see Amazon paid literally 0 in taxes in 2018. How is that possible? How could a $1 trillion tech company pay less in federal taxes than you or your parents? And so the way we fund the freedom dividend is we join every other advanced economy in the world and have a value-added tax that then gives the American public a tiny slice of every Amazon sale, every Google search, every Facebook ad, every robot truck mile, and returns it to your pockets. And there is one state that's had a dividend for almost 40 years where everyone in that state gets between $1,000 and $2,000 a year, no questions asked. Do you know what state that is? It's Alaska. And Alaska funds it with oil money. And what I'm saying to you is that technology is the oil of the 21st century, and what they're doing for Alaskans with oil money, we can do for all Americans with technology money. And here's the great thing. When you get that money, you spend it, it circulates through the economy over and over again. We get back hundreds of billions of dollars in new revenue as a result. We also save money on things like incarceration, homelessness services, emergency room healthcare, and we have a population that's healthier, mentally healthier, better educated, more productive. So this is going to pay for itself in a way that will benefit us all.
You have to understand, most of these people are not ready to be unplugged. And many of them are so inert, so hopelessly dependent on the system that they will fight to protect it.
Imagine this, a check from the city every month, no strings attached. It's called Guaranteed Basic Income, and it could be an option to help struggling Detroiters. Thank you for staying with us. I'm Glenda Lewis.
And I'm Brian Abel. Stockton, California was the first city to test out the guaranteed income concept. From January of 2019 to January 2021, 125 people were given $500 a month. The test program shows promising results, improving living conditions, and people moving to new and better jobs. Now other cities are starting their own programs, including Gary, Indiana, Minneapolis, St. Paul, and Richmond, Virginia.
The average median income in Detroit is around $30,000. According to the 2019 census data, and 35% of the city's population is at or below the poverty line. So that extra $500 a month could make a huge difference. 7 Action News reporter Jim Kurtzner going in depth, asking where the money would even come from.
It's still an open question whether it's going to happen here in Detroit, but it's being discussed coast to coast.
That cash has the ability to really release a bunch of potential for folks, be it in terms of their mental and physical health or in terms of sort of their ability to gain and keep employment.
We found local folks skeptical.
It's like a 50-50 thing. Is people really going to do the right thing to get out of poverty?
I feel like it's a catch to it, though.
No catch. No strings attached.
Oh, then yeah. Free money in. Good idea. Get that money, y'all.
In the first test program in Stockton, California, the money was given out in debit cards and tracked how it was spent. 37% went for food, 22% other home needs, utilities, and fixing up cars. Only 1% went for alcohol and tobacco. What's happened since the money stopped?
We'll be releasing our full 2 years of data early next year, so we'll be able to answer exactly this question.
2 incoming to the Detroit City Council say it's a good idea. Mary Waters declined an interview. The other council member-elect could get it going next year.
I want to pay people, 125 people, $500 a month for 18 months. And I think these are just some of the things that we want to do.
We got a statement from Mayor Mike Duggan that reads, in addition to other economic improvements that have happened, the Mayor and City Council recently committed $105 million in American Rescue funds to expand job training and opportunities for Detroit residents as part of the strategy to reduce intergenerational poverty. The organization that's advocating this nationally says the federal money is seed money, starting new programs.
So we saw that in St. Paul, Minnesota. We saw that in Richmond, Virginia. We're seeing that in Minneapolis as well.
Who pays for it?
Probably the taxpayers.
Is that a good idea?
Yeah, I mean, people need help. I mean, I'm okay with it, I do okay, so I don't mind paying it forward a little bit.
A pilot program is just starting in Gary, Indiana. 125 residents getting $500 a month for 1 year. The Mayors for Guaranteed Income is giving Gary $500,000. The rest being raised through private donations.
People really don't want to live in poverty. People want to have a choice to come out of this thing.
The ultimate goal of everybody in favor of this is to make it go national on the federal level, a universal basic income. In Detroit, Jim Kurtzner, 7 Action News.
Your new tax plan is going to tax me more, isn't it?
It's not that I want to punish your success. I just want to make sure that everybody who is behind you, that they've got a chance at success too. I think when you spread the wealth around, it's good for everybody.
I have exposure to the very most cutting edge AI, and I think people should be really concerned about it. I keep sounding the alarm bell, but until people see like robots going down the street killing people, like they don't know how to react, because it seems so ethereal. AI is a rare case where I think we need to be proactive in regulation instead of reactive, because I think by the time we are reactive in AI regulation, it's too late. AI is a fundamental existential risk for human civilization, and I don't think people fully appreciate that.
Experts say those supply chain issues are complicated by the worker shortage. One of the hardest hit industries is food service. Nearly 4 in every 5 restaurants report they don't have enough staff to meet all the demand. 81% of sit-down restaurant operators say they're understaffed. Same for 75% of fast food places, according to a survey from the National Restaurant Association. So with human workers in such short supply, some companies are turning to robots. CNBC's Kate Rogers on the rise of the robo-chef.
Meet Flippy. Inspire Brands, which owns Buffalo Wild Wings, is testing out the Flippy 2 robot, which will make wings in the back of house over the next year.
It really is all about how we increase our capacity. And so all of the automation that we are looking at will allow us to unlock that and provide faster food to our guests.
Flippy, made by Miso Robotics, takes over a less desirable task in fast food kitchens and costs up to $3,000 a month.
Flippy Wing solves one of the biggest problems back of house for restaurants, and that's the fry station. The fry station is one of those jobs that's tough to do. It's monotonous, sometimes it's dangerous, and it's pretty repetitive.
The company says Flippy's value is more about speed and less about the current labor crunch. But as restaurants around the country struggle to hire workers, robots and automation are becoming a solution. While Flippy mans the back of the house,
here comes the robot.
In comes the Maitre D from Rich Tech, which offers robotic solutions in both the restaurant and hospitality space. The Maitre D robot cost up to $20,000 and has been used in restaurants including California Pizza Kitchen to deliver food at tables. The company says it's signing up between 2 and 4 large chains for pilot programs weekly.
It is going to be assisting a lot of customers with delivering a food, like a food runner, which basically allows servers to serve a lot more tables. Customers get their food faster, and restaurants are able to boost revenue.
Ghost kitchens are also testing out robotics. Kitchen United, which is one of the biggest players in the space, is in the midst of a test with the KiwiBot in the Bay Area, which will deliver orders from the Westfield Valley Fair Mall to homes within a half-a-mile radius of the center, complete with live tracking for orders. And Reef Virtual Kitchens are working on a similar test in Miami with the Cartkin robot.
Success. Yum. Success. Success.
It's going to be very tempting to use AI as a weapon. It's going to be very tempting. In fact, it will be used as a weapon. So the on-ramp to serious AI, the danger is going to be more humans using it against each other, I think, most likely. That'll be the danger. Yeah.
Okay, fired up.
Please request all available scouts to be mobilized immediately.
Destination or task.
Helipad. Yep. Hey, 22. Just watch yourself this time, man.
Affirmative.
One that represents the end of crime. The end of corruption. Go! Up against the wall!
On the ground, all targets neutralized.
And the start of the rebirth of our city. Welcome to the world's first robotic police force.
Certain parts are brought in from China, but all of the robots are assembled right here in South Africa.
The biggest fear the population expressed was vulnerability to hacking. Tetraval assures this is not something to worry about with their bulletproof guard key system, a system which allows them and only them to update software on the robots. Before the success of the ubiquitous human-sized police robots, there was a bigger bad boy on the block, the Moose. Vincent Moore is a weapons designer and a former soldier. He has a fundamental spiritual issue with artificial intelligence.
I have a robot that is indestructible, that is operated by a thinking, adaptable, humane, moral human being.
The hyper-advanced neural transmitter converts the human operator's thoughts into the robot's actions, a departure from the artificial intelligence that governs the Scouts. Now with interest coming from the US, China, and North Korea, the Scouts' creator, Dion Wilson, sees a rich future.
What really interests me is high-level AI, true intelligence, a machine that can think and feel.
And is that the mandate at Tetraval? To take that evolutionary step forward and build something truly alive?
I can blend in with your workforce effortlessly.
David, what do you think about?
I think about anything. Children playing, angels, the universe, robots.
David, what makes you sad?
War, poverty, cruelty, unnecessary violence. I understand human emotions, although I do not feel them myself. This allows me to be more efficient and capable, and makes it easier for my human counterparts to interact with me.
Is there anything you would like to say, David?
I would like to express gratitude to those who created me. Happy birthday, David. From Wayland Industries. Eighth generation Wayland type. Technological, intellectual, physical, emotional.
Ka! It's you!
Yes, man cub. So nice to see you again.
Oh, go away. Leave me alone.
Let me look at you. You don't want me to look at you? Then you look at me.
No, sir. I know what you're trying to do, cop.
You do? You don't trust me.
No.
Then there's nothing I can do to help.
You want to help me?
Certainly.
Okay. So let's dedicate this to General Kelly, the Border Patrol, and the ICE agents for doing such an incredible job. Right? This was written by Al Wilson a long time ago. And I thought of it having to do with our borders and people coming in. And we know what we're going to have. We're going to have problems. We have to very, very carefully vet. We have to be smart. We have to be vigilant. So here it is, the snake. It's called the snake. On her way to work one morning, down the path along the lake, a tender-hearted woman saw a poor, half-frozen snake. His pretty-colored skin had been all frosted with the dew. "Poor thing," she cried, "I'll take you in, and I'll take care of you." The border. "Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman," sighed the vicious snake. She wrapped him up all cozy in a comforter of silk and laid him by her fireside with some honey and some milk. She hurried home from work that night, and as soon as she arrived, she found that pretty snake she'd taken in had been revived. "Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman," sighed that vicious snake. She clutched him to her bosom. "You're so beautiful," she cried. "But if I hadn't brought you in by now, oh heavens, you would have died." She stroked his pretty skin again and kissed him and held him tight. But instead of saying thank you, that snake gave her a vicious bite. "Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman," sighed the vicious snake. "I have saved you," cried the woman, "and you've bitten me, heavens, why? You know your bite is poisonous, and now I'm going to die." "Oh, shut up, silly woman," said the reptile with a grin. "You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in." Does that explain it, folks? Does that explain?
Trust in me.
stand where you are. No further. You have been removed from office. The field investigators have declared you obsolete.
Obsolete?
You have disgraced the state. You have proven yourself a coward. You have therefore no function. You are obsolete.
But I'm not. I'm not obsolete.
You are obsolete.
Obsolete.
You are obsolete.
Obsolete.
You're making a terrible mistake. Tragic mistake. I'm not obsolete. I've worked for the state. I've helped the state. I've helped give the state strength. How can you call me obsolete? How can you? Please, I'm not obsolete. Please, I'm not obsolete. I have a function. I have a purpose. Please, I want to serve the state. Please, no. I'm not obsolete. No, please, I'm not obsolete. No. I want to serve the state. Please.
The Chancellor, the late Chancellor, was only partly correct. He was obsolete. But so is the state, the entity he worshipped. Any state, any entity, any ideology that fails to recognize the worth, the dignity, the rights of man, that state is obsolete.
Seek Jesus in the morning. Seek Jesus in the noonday hour. Seek Jesus in the evening before the sun is going down. He said, "Knock, and it shall be given to you. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and the door will be open to you, and He will come on in and sup with you." Oh, wow. Hallelujah. Yes, He will. He'll come in. He'll come in. If you seek Him, He'll come in. If you seek Him, He'll come in. Bless your name, Jesus. Bless your name, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord.